Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Coalfield Chronicles. Today, we are taking a look at the first unit in CSX's popular Pride and Service series, CSX 1776. For each episode surrounding the Pride and Service series, I had the pleasure of speaking with their designer, Mr. Tyler Hardin. With a massive thanks to him, I am able to bring you all an inside look as to how these units came to life. CSX 1776 first graced the system with its presence in 2019 as a part of CSX's Pride and Service series. The series would take key positions in our everyday lives and commemorate a locomotive to its practice as CSX's way of saying thank you. 1776 wasn't always this number, however. Before its new paint job, 1776 was CSX 3112, an ES44AC GE locomotive built and placed into service in 2013 amidst CSX's order of new units. 3112 was in general freight service for 7 years before it was selected for its special treatment. In 2019, CSX partnered with Operation Gratitude, Blue Star Families, Operation Homefront, Wounded Warriors Project, and First Responders Children's Foundation as part of their Pride and Service series. However, the hands behind the design belong to Mr. Hardin. From his experience, each unit began with a drawing by hand. While working at a Toyota factory, he would spend his breaks sketching out rough concept ideas on paper. Then, once he was happy with what he had, he would take them home and relay those sketches digitally and work the design until he was satisfied, noting that it would be easier to put 10 to 15 ideas on paper first rather than go the extra mile straight into the digital world. In the case of 1776, it was the first unit in the series overall, yet was not his favorite design. The Pride and Service series began in terms of actual units around July 4th of 2018. Pride and Service had been a CSX marketing campaign beforehand, yet a simple conversation between Hardin and Mr. Eric Hendrickson regarding how neat it would be to have a military locomotive for CSX led right to contacts and connections to get the ball rolling. When CSX got on board, he began the design process in September of 2018 and noted that early concepts conveyed the entire unit in a special paint job rather than the mullet style that you see today. On Christmas Eve of that year, after working closely with Mr. Hendrickson and others from CSX, he received word of the final approval and work would begin in January in the paint shops of Huntington, West Virginia. To his surprise, the paint crew in Huntington insisted on hand painting the unit rather than wrapping it, in which they created their own system to hand mask and paint the digital grayscale camo on the body. He entailed that they used cutting vinyl and numbered each patch for the various colors present. By the time the project was finished, between 40 and 80 hours had went into the final product, becoming the first custom painted unit on the CSX system. When it came to hardships found amidst the process, there was a fair share of them. Being a project on that scale, it took many revisions to get it right, with Hardin noting that when you design something for someone else on their equipment, you have to consider the likes and the dislikes of the client. He said, "You can make something you love, but the hardest part is giving over the control and letting others change that." At the time, the series as a whole was not even considered, and was approached from a perspective of doing a single unit with hope that they could do more. Hardin noted that if he could change anything about the unit, now knowing that all three would come to fruition, that he would include a full design across the entire locomotive. Being the first of the series, he had to lighten up on the design work compared to what we would see later with 911 and 3194. He also noted that it was not his direct choice of unit to repaint a 3100 series locomotive, but rather preference and dumb luck. He stated that he preferred units in the 3000 and 3100 series for their reliability, plus the addition of a hope for ES44AH 911. He said that a Tier 4 GE was considered, however their exhaust systems burned hotter than normal, and that he wanted the units painted to last. When it came to rubber meeting the road, he said, you could bank on the 3000 series being around for a while. Hardin also expressed his own pride in the unit in seeing the love everyone has shown over the years. Upon the unveiling of the first 2 units at Huntington, he noted that he had to go off to himself and just take in the sight of seeing the unit in person. Going from a drawing on paper to an actual design on a 500,000-ton locomotive was unreal, and was an opportunity I'd prayed for, he said. Even today, seeing folks go out of their way to photograph and enjoy the unit is what it's all about, and it lets me know I did something right. And I couldn't agree to that more. He also stressed that he could never have done it on his own, and that a massive amount of credit was due to the Huntington paint crew and Mr. Hendrickson. Upon release, CSX 1776 was fitted with an RS5T horn, in which it still wears today. Very minor changes have been made to 1776, with the only notable appearance being a new set of number boards. 1776 can still be found running the CSX system to this day, and is always a pleasant sight to see, not to mention a reminder of the first specially painted unit for the massive Class 1 railroad. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of the Coalfield Chronicles. A very special thank you to Tyler Hardin for the behind-the-scenes look at the creation of this unit. If you liked what you see, be sure to subscribe so you won't miss future episodes, including the remaining 3 to be done on the Pride and Service series featuring CSX 911, CSX 3194, and the scrapped units in the project. Be sure to leave your feedback and suggestions in the comments below as well. Until next time, from the Coalfields, this is Railfan Micah Turner. God bless y'all.